Yeah, I'm making some noise. Everybody, welcome and another live stream. And as mentioned last week, we're working on new presets for SubBoomBass 2. They are ready to go, but we have a little issue on the Mac computer with the pop-up screen. So, because if you go in the SubBoomBass 2 in the upper screen, you can check for updates. When I click, it will say, there's a new version, because I have a other version here, and it says that you have a new version and you can download it. So this pop-up menu is causing problems on the audio unit version on the Mac, and Sajik is hard working solving it, so therefore it's not released yet. But what I can show you, of course, a few of the new presets, and this is one of the new ones, which is called Rain and Dance in the sequence bank number 4. Yeah, I can check. You can see it changes also in the pattern. And sometimes people email and say, oh, hey, suddenly the pattern stops playing. But then you forgot to put on the loop mode if you are in pattern mode. You have several options in the pattern mode. Loop mode, that the loop starts on a different point, re-trigger, step lengths of the total sequence. And you heard it sounds very nice if you combine this with a nice beat. Of course, SubBoomBass 2 is far more than only a bass synthesizer. It really had some very cool sequence sounds on board. So a few of the new ones. I put also one which is just a bit crazy, which is this one. Vox percussion, because we have a lot of vocal percussive sounds, which is weird. And of course, you can change it yourself to say, okay, this is too busy, I don't need to shut off. And you have a totally different groove, and I made also a variation with the tape flanger. And also here you can say, okay, let's make a different sequence just by shutting off some of these steps. And this is another one. With matte bass, MIDI in the mid tone. This one uses the string model together with a sample from the pick bass. So these are a few of the new presets which you're gonna release. Tabla Spring is combining the tabla with the spring drum. So these were new of the new presets. Low ride riddle, that is of course more if you go low beat. So let's go to 74 beats per minute. And here it uses the special mode, so the note is tight but still changes in pitch. If I pick here, let me give that as an example, pick here the normal mode, you get this, which is also cool. But the special mode means that the notes are tight, so but then still change in pitch. And of course with a low beat. Because I should shut down the kick here. Got really some cool grooves. And there's again a pattern which goes sequence A, B, this is one of these slow beats. Of course, you also can use other presets. That's Time Cop. We did that a few months ago. 80 sounds. And you see, it's not a Time Cop, it's called. It's weird vocals. Yeah, box. That's a Formula 1 joke. Box. This one will be better with a bit more tempo. So these are a few of the new ones which will appearing, and the cool thing is, of course, you don't see really how much new presets. I will mention them in the info description in the download page, but if you go down to the sequence preset 4 and you click order by date, the last one will pop up. Oh, that one is dirty, using distortion. This one, your lo-fi, really lo-fi. But there are also new, only 2 new sub basses. So that's the Dark Rain Square. This one is with chorus, so it's a bit more wider. But it depends on your track. And many new basses, so even until bass preset 7 we are now. So the regular this is the Berlin Waiting bass I use in my own track, and everybody say, oh, what a nice bass. So it's a very dry bass. It's more based on an H101. Very nice straight bass. You see, no affixes used, so it's a very good engine which is even dry perfectly. The CS-30. We had, of course, the last week I showed the CS-30, or the week before, I'm not sure about that. And then the CS-30 Yamaha synthesizer has 2 filters, and if you place in the second filter in parallel mode, you can have what you hear now is that the oscillator 2 goes to a bandpass filter, which is here, an F2, filter 2. And with the modulation wheel, which is addressed in the mod matrix, I open it and you get this. And it's cool if you use that in the music, of course, recording this modulation wheel. You see it in the upper left corner there. You see my keyboard and my thumb moving it up and down. So if you have a piece of music with a bass beat. Hear that? You can do some very dynamic changes to the sound. So this is Bank 7. This one has an attack sound, which is a vocal sound. Really adds a kind of these are more the techno house typical. not only a bass, it's only also kind of lead sound. So it's really, I'll throw again some beat under. So has a lot of cool sounds. And this uses a tom, an 808 tom, with a square wave combined. So it's really the cool thing of SubBoomBass 2. It combines synthesis, basic analog, virtual analog synthesis, combined with a range of tuned samples, which you can combine then as a new sound. And that's well, this is a typical Minimoog bass, which you get this glide. So some people think, how do they do this little? Well, it's if you have a analog synthesizer like the Minimoog, it is monophonic and it has a legato mode, which means that if you don't let go the note on your keyboard, it doesn't re-trigger the envelopes. So, and then if you make this move over your keyboard, you hear this. So let me play it, but of course I need to shut down my microphone. So if I would do this in mono mode, then each time it hits a new note, it re-triggers the envelope, and then you get this. I guess you see my keyboard playing in the upper left corner. So legato mode, then you get this FX. And now you hear my keyboard. And this can be very cool, even if you make this bass a little bit darker. Like this. Then you can make these kind of in-between things. So, like this. So that's what you need if you want to do this typical sound with a bass, this Minimoog style thing. And that's, of course, in the 70s, done on the Minimoog. So working on new presets. Oh no, they're ready to go, but we're waiting on the update. Okay. That's one. Uses the kitchen drawer, which I did sample. And upstairs we have a kitchen drawer with all the spoons and side of it, and each time it goes closes, it has this typical sound. I'll put it in Punch 2, but it's also now Kitchen 1 inside SubBoomBass 2. If I would let you know then the clean sound, so let's go to the clean sound so you can hear it. Manager, where here you got all these samples, and here are the kitchen. That's the kitchen drawer. Okay. Oh, I hear a little click. That's not good. Number 2. So I hear this many times, and this sound is used for this bass as for the attack and the dark thing inside it, the darker harmonics. So then you get this kitchen hit bass. Almost don't hear but still it has its character. So even if I shut it down, so this is without the kitchen draw. Really adds a kind of thing to it. So everybody, welcome. to the live stream. Already 15 minutes in. I need to write down this little click, which is most likely a little bug. Yeah, our new Jack Swing uses R&B this basis. Yeah, definitely. So these are some of the new presets. Yeah, the Berlin waiting bass, which you will have, I used in the track which I shared last week. This one, I think I only used then the delay in it, but then short. Maybe it was a mono delay. So last week was a friend of mine here, and he said, "That's a nice bass. It's very simple. It's just one oscillator. It's a little bit, yeah, it's simply a little bit of pulse width modulation. Yeah, it doesn't have to be complex to be good." So in bass preset 6, there are also many new ones. So type of stuff. Dark, or this long ras 70s. Yeah, nice. This one uses, of course. But also, this one combining the string model with the pick bass. You heard that in a sequence, but I also made it a solo sound, which has a lot of expression. And also this one is dry. Cool, isn't it? So if you click down, if you go to bass presets 06, click order by date. I think there are over 20 new ones in this one. This one is also doing some filterize. Cool, isn't it? Okay, so that's planned for SubBoomBass 2. You can expect any day now the newsletter that we will have SubBoomBass 2 with this update, with these new presets. Not sure how many we have. I think the new ones at least are in the Sequence Bank 4, which we played a few of them. In SubBass presets 02, only 2 new ones, but they're very nice, very sub. Goes really deep. And then, of course, in the bass preset 6, which we are just playing, dirty one. Really more dry analog type of sounds in bass preset 6. That's what I had a little bit in mind, to have really some nasty, no delays, no chorus, really very dry, as if you would plug in an old analog machine. Is saying. This one uses again a combination xylophone, which is this, pure for the attack, but the body comes from a reel. So really some creative new basses inside of it. And then in the instruments and FX, that I put in drop sounds, and which you can change with the modulation wheel. You can change the time. So the first one is a pretty dry one. And if you open the modulation wheel, it is shortened. It's reverb. Then you get all kind of combinations. Vocal. Oh, that one goes deep. More effect sounds. It's good for some sound effects. So many of them, in total 25, I think, yeah. So you don't have to. So these are inside them that as well. And then, of course, in recap, it's in the sequence presets 4, 2 presets in SubBoomBass presets 2, many new ones in bass presets 6 and 7, and some sound effects in 1 this bank in the instrument and SFX, which, by the way, has some very interesting sounds. Drinking glass. Or it's some eerie sounds, as they call it. Because this one uses the grain feature. Ah, this one is nice. Uses the male choir, which is grain. If I put off the grain, you get this. Grain on it. And the spring drum also has grain. Without the granular. Now with granular. Combined with this male choir. It's Friday night, guys. Friday the 13th. Okay, so check also these sounds, the other ones which are inside of it. Cool. So, and then what I had as a subject today is a weird session. So that was my subject for today, because what happened is that I have a Sony camera, which is good for recording videos. And I have this CAM software, CAM 4K, whatever. And I thought, yeah, when I want to do some things for you guys with my gear, my analog gear, then I need, of course, a better quality in the camera than the Logitech stuff, which is up here for the keyboard, and here we have where you can see me. So, and then I thought, okay, let's connect it and see if it works. And oh, it worked. So don't be shocked what you are going to see now, because I'm going to switch over to this camera. Okay, using my mouse. Sony CAM. Hey, this is me. And you see this little cable, it's a long cable, goes to the computer. USB 3 it is, this blue one. And I can play here on my synth. You can hear that. I can play even on my CS-30. Oh, that one is not awake. But for instance, what it makes that you have a very good video quality. So if I put on my mixer, chill, you hear my MS-10, and I'll put on the channel now, and I need to do that a little bit better in the future, is to add an extra input so that I can put the delay on it. So now you hear the MS-20 with delay. Yeah, now it's on my voice, also delay, but it's combined. That was the CS-30, so yeah, I need to mute the delay. But that gives me the option, of course, to play around, maybe on a live stream, that I pick one of the instruments, one of the classic instruments, and tell you about what I like about it, how I work with it. You see, you have the Take 5 here, which is a pretty new one, which I use on stage. Let's see if it's built in FX, but what I use on stage, this one, but then I use the FX on stage, I use then or reverb on the so you hear then Ref saying on the Take 5. So it has a built-in reverb, but it's not on the same level as a let's say the Ref saying or the RP Verb 2. Yeah, the cable, that's something I need to see. I'm not sure if there are extension cables for USB 3. And of course I can move around the camera. So let's move it. Okay. But you can see that the quality is a lot better than the classic standard Logitech. So you see my SH101, you can see the Korg MS-20 with the switching board. I had this video some time ago. So what I did is having the option to switch from 4 steps to 8 steps, which came as an idea also in our plugins. So let me do this, how we did it in the past. Yeah, that's something I can advise anybody who has still the SQ10, which is pretty limited. But what I did with this switching board is that you can go from 2 steps to 4 steps to 8 steps to whatever, up to 12 steps it has. And then I also switch the outputs. Your A is for the tuning, B I put on the filter, and C is for making ratcheting type of things. So if I shut down the A and B, and you can hear that it doesn't play the melody, and then it plays the melody. So this, is a very handy extra tool, which I think everybody should have if they still like to use their SQ10. And so let me switch off A and B to show you what this little switching board can do on your pitch and the filter, because the B row goes into the filter, so then it modulates the filter, so you get some extra sound. So let's play it again and put some delay. So I put, as you can see, Delsane on it. It's a bit out of tune, but now it plays without melody. It's 4 steps, 2 steps. You see, 2 steps. And now I put on the melody with switching on A. Bit out of tune. 4 steps. And then I can switch on B row, this row, which is connected to the filters. Yeah, you can see it's a little bit out of tune, but yeah, then you see the whole thing of the Korg SQ10 gets a whole different dimension. That's how we did create our music in the early 80s. If you go to our Peru band Constellations, you will really hear the switching between the different sequence types using the SQ10. So, and then you see that the idea, okay, let's go back. Then you can see that this idea which I had with the switching with the Korg MS-20 went into our product. So in bit 2 and in Go2-X we added this. So here you have the option to go, let's say, if it, let's go to sequence sounds. Open. That you can here use the dial for the number of steps down here. And you can record this, of course, as a parameter or use a dial for it. And you see the catch-up is even, so that you don't go to a step 3 length, or so that you can keep it even or odd. So you think something which essentially I did in 1981 came suddenly some time ago as an idea for having this feature of going from different steps in our products, which is then now in the case of bit 2, which we added that for the first time. And then of course Go2-X has the same feature. Okay, checking the chat room. Yeah, we're working on let's see if I can open for you guys, because also Go2-X will be very soon compatible with NKS. So add track, instrument. I'm not sure if I can do this with complete control, because complete control did change a little bit in terms of the way it looks. So let me see, complete control. Yes, here it is. Aha. Now let's see if I can put it in. Go to X. Double click. Oh, here you go. All banks. The browser did change. I can see up and sequences. It plays the audio example. Here are the controls. And you see, it's a bit hard for you to see. Now I need to of course, the Go2-X is very big here, but I see this looks a lot different than what it was before. They really changed the looks of it. But you see, XY is addressed, the speed of it, but also steps number and loop start. So in the first page, if you use the NKS, you can change the number of steps and look down here how they change by using the control, which is this dial. Okay, let me see if I can make you visible also the dial. Okay, I need to make the keyboard a little bit bigger. So in the upper left corner, you can see my keyboard, and it's this dial, which I point out, that changes the number of steps. Okay. So you can record it. So you see here, this dial is then, and of course then page 2, we have other things, oscillator control, the amp control, with the filter. Looks very different as it is now compared to how it looked before. So I need to adjust that a little bit. So it's more like an Ableton look for the parameters. So if you compare that with, let's go here differently, and let's take machine 2. This. Okay, machine 2. Here's machine 2. All instruments, go to X. Okay, and go to the banks. You see here it looks different. So I'm not sure why they did. Maybe you can go also back to the classic looks. I'm not sure. It's pretty new. So here, if I go to ARP and sequence, here the dials look more. Oh. Okay, that isn't. You see the controls different. The whole dials look different than in complete control. But this is a machine which is also a sequencer machine, and we use machine for doing the tagging. So here we convert, of course, our own tagging to NKS, but then we need to adapt and do some manual adjustments to the presets. Okay, so that's weird. What does? Oh, a bit noisy. Okay. So that's work in progress. Okay. Now back to where we were. Let's open the and let's check the chat room. Okay. I'm checking the chat room if there are any questions. Yeah, so the weird session is about that fact that the camera is working very, very nicely. So maybe I make a little round with the camera so you see my studio. I guess you guys might like that. So switch over to the Sony CAM. Here we go, and Take the standard now, and you see this is I'm moving around a little bit. This is where I sit, and you see I have a different chair now because that one doesn't bleed that much. So here you can see my screen, my keyboard. The upper computer screen is for the live streaming so that I can see what you guys are typing. You see my BM15 speakers, my Yamaha speakers. These are DIN Audio's BM15. I already have them for a very long time. My SH101, you see the second audio card I have for my laptops. I have two MacBooks, which I also use on stage. One for being a one for working as a sequencer, and the other one I use a super synthesizer. You see my mixer, then you see the Korg setup, you see my little fatty, the Take 5. There is the Yamaha CS-30. That one gets very soon the MIDI update from La La Land. And as you can see, it looks very nice. And there in the background, you can see a drum machine by CRB, my diamond string, which is in Blue 3, ASA 10, and an E4 keyboard. And that is my other room. So, so let's see. Then you go, in this side, you have the Pro 3 SE. See, there's a Euro rack with a dark, what do you call it again? A dark time sequencer from Doppler, which I use with the Euro rack. Below it is a very nice modular system 22, which I purchased already many years ago, which I also used on my book to explain subtractive synthesis, how that works. Yeah, and then you see on the left side my Minimoog, Prophet 600, a Jupiter 8, and below it you see the Roland SH5, and then we have the rack with the microwave, Orbit 3, Proteus 2000, a Waldorf Pulse, and the Waldorf M, which is essentially a Waldorf microwave, but a little bit different in sound, a bit more mellow. I think the Waldorf M sounds more like an original PPG compared to the Waldorf microwave, which is a bit more aggressive in its sound. So, and then of course you can see here something. Normally there's the cup of coffee, which I'm drinking. Oh yeah, and there is of course my complete control, my microphone, and the Virus B, which I often use simply to control the synthesizers for programming sounds. I use it like, the envelopes is very nice to have them as a dial so that you're very fast by changing the filter envelope or the volume envelope. So yeah, this is my working spot. Okay, so oh, there's a lot of delay I see with but I'm happy that the Sony CAM works so nice, because then I could also, when I have a little bit more time, make more videos about what I did, for instance, with the Korg MS-20, and what I like about it, and why I put in this switching board, the Roland SH101. Because yeah, with the webcams, which from Logitech, they are not good enough because you don't have that much light in the studio. So okay, what camera did you get? It's I think the newer one are even better. It's the Sony. I need to check that out. One second. Yeah, that's a good one. It does say Sony Alpha. I think there is a newer one, which very often used, but this is the Sony Alpha. And what is funny with it, you can flip on the back panel, put it upwards, and then it switches the screen, and then you can also see what you are recording from a different position. Please say something about the Sony tape deck. Well, it's a DAT recorder. Yeah, it's a DAT recorder. Maybe some Yamaha representation. Oh, you mean from the CS-30? Yeah, it's so it's a very dark synthesizer. So I mean from that, or I mean from surface, which makes it harder to video record. So it's yeah, I think I need to move her. I think I need to move it around so that you see. Let's see. I put now the screen on it. Let's see how it looks like. It's not bad at all. ADAT recorder is also tape deck. Yeah, digital facts. ADAT recorder is also a tape deck, isn't it? Yeah, sure. Yeah, the camera is not bad at all. There seems to be even a better generation, but it's the Sony Alpha, I think, very known for streamers to use that. But for some reason, at the first start, it didn't work that well. But now I simply plug it in, and OBS says Sony CAM. Yeah. So there's some way an update. So yeah, if I go back to the CS-30. Yeah, you cannot hear my voice, of course, and I'm too far away for showing it. But what you see in the CS-30 is that the cool thing, which I mentioned also, is that, or the weird thing is that you select the waveforms in the filter and you select the filter types in the VCA. So the first time you watch at the synthesizer, even for me, it was, huh? You know, this famous studio sound called Huh? Which is the most famous studio sound overall. And the most heard sound it is as well. So if you think what's the most popular sound in a studio, that is Huh? Anyhow, aside of that, it's the and the sequencer is pretty basic because it's only doing the pitch, so you cannot control the filter or anything else with it. It's only pitch, and mine needs a recap because the components, and you cannot blame the synthesizer. It's yeah, caps they call it. They wear a bit after 40 years. It's logic. So if I would connect now the sequencer for you, you would hear only pretty weird melody lines. So let me do that. So to make the sequencer play, you need to press the VCO to sequencer, and then also make the envelope set to sequencer triggering. And once you do that, you can hit. And as you can see, pretty wild. Yeah, as you notice it's pretty out of tune. I took 4 steps, but I want to make it 8. We got a little bit of Stockhausen on board today. And then, of course, we can... Sorry, I start laughing because of the melody. It's a new term of jazz. Jazz is sequencers which need a repair, create Stockhausen music. I can change the tempo. Yeah, it's pretty. So it needs a little repair. But it's a beautiful synthesizer. If you're not, that's the other side of the story. It's nostalgia from my point. If you say, okay, I want to spend this kind of money, and you are having not that kind of nostalgia that you think, oh, I always dreamt of having that synthesizer. I only can say buy a modern one if you... Okay, there's a little bit noise. But that one... So that's my point. Of course, people pay sometimes very high, a lot of money for a particular synthesizer. Okay, let me go back here. So my take on this is, if you are just like me, that you have this nostalgic thing, which that you as young kid always did dream about this particular synthesizer. In my case, I dreamt about the CS-30 when I was 15. But it's not a, how you call that? Not a purchase because of the features. It's simply because it's something I always wanted to have. Just like buying an old car, which is that doesn't have airbags, doesn't have powered brakes. The synthesizer doesn't have MIDI, but it's simply a nostalgic decision. But if I would say I want to have a analog synthesizer and I have this money to spend, which has a built-in sequence, I would say build 10 times the or buy 10 times the Pro 3, for instance, from Sequential, which I also did purchase for on stage, doing a live changes to the sound while we play live. And that's what you had now in the picture. It's warming up, but then you have a synthesizer which is full blown with MIDI, different filter types, a sequencer which really tunes without a tuner, but it really tunes in semi-steps, which is far more comfortable. So I have this sound, which is most likely dry. And here I can press play. And then you have something which is tuned. Yeah, indeed. So you see, now it plays it, and live on stage, I use then, so I could put on again the delay. I use then they'll say, let me see. Okay, let me see. You don't hear it, I think. Now it comes for you. So now this is the Pro 3, now without delay. And then you have the option to use different filter types. So if you would say, okay, you have to spend X amount, and you're not in the nostalgia thing, I would buy 10 times the Pro 3 over a CS-30 because it's a far more modern synth and has also different filter types. Okay, let's put a bit of delay on it. Yeah, I hope you get my point on that subject. So that it's not necessary to buy a CS-30 to have an analog synthesizer. I mean, the newer ones, the modern newer ones, have far more options. So it's more the nostalgia that made me buy the CS-30, and of course, I felt 15 again. So that's cool, isn't it? So and you see the picture of the Pro 3, which is absolutely fantastic synthesizer. It has I really like the Pro 600 filter inside of it. No, the Prophet 6 it is. It has the Moog ladder filter and the Oberheim filter built in, and a very extensive sequencer. So so I did a little bit of the background in terms. Yeah, that's the most important thing, is what makes you make the best music. When I create music, 99% is using the software. Also because I'm like to work fast, and sometimes I'm simply too lazy to connect everything to the DAW for that subject. But on stage, therefore I purchased the Pro 3 and the Take 5. It's cool to have synthesizers, also because, yeah, then you have a little bit more freedom than that you're only working with two laptops. So, guys, yeah, that was my weird live stream. Definitely weird. And you see, all the analog machines in my studio did inspire also to a bit too. And if you can, no, not always necessary to have the analog classic in your studio. It helps for me for creating the presets, of course, because this one is inspired on the beloved Mini Moog. So that's also how I program. And yeah, trust me, in the music, you will not hear if you use Bit 2 or Mini Moog or a Sequential. It's all about the music. If it touches the heart, that's the most important thing. And yeah, for the Jupiter 8, you need to go to the pads. Select, make some typical. Yeah, cool. Somebody mentions the Electur Formant. That was a very nice one. We used that in the Nova band as well. We did. We could hire that from a friend of us in Dordrecht. He was on school, on the higher school for electronics, and he built also the Electur Formant synthesizer. And we used that one. It was a very nice, good sounding synth. Okay, guys, thanks for taking participant in the live stream. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a little bit weird today because I discovered that the Sony Alpha worked perfectly on my computer, so that gives some options that we do maybe really a focused live stream on one of the synthesizers which I like in my studio. Thanks for watching. We see each other next week, and keep an eye on the homepage because SubBoomBass 2 very soon it will be released with these new presets, and also Go2-X with the NKS support. Cheers. Bye bye.